Betsy H., 51 years old, died from suffocation, had intellectual disability and epilepsy. Hannah Davenport, 6 years old, cause of death, malnutrition / dehydration, had an ectopic anus. Karen Davenport, her mother, was found guilty of second-degree involuntary manslaughter, fined $5,000. Patrick Marquardt, 36 years old, died from asphyxia, had Down syndrome and autism. He attended a day center where carers described Patrick as a loving private man who enjoyed swimming and going to a local coffee shop. Eliza Scoville, she was 3. She died from pneumonia and AIDS. She was HIV positive. She was born to a mother who was HIV positive and who didn't believe that HIV causes AIDS. As a result, her mother breastfed her, even though this increases the risk of passing on HIV to a baby. Eliza Jane wasn't tested for HIV, nor was she given antiretroviral drugs, even though these could have saved her life. Donna Spadilla, 59, died from poisoning, had intellectual disability. Talia Williams, 5 years old, cause of death, abuse, incontinence. Abubakar Nadama, 5, cause of death, chelation therapy, had autism. Sarah Naylor, 27 years old, died from gunshot, had autism. Jason Witzert, 30 years old, died from asphyxia, had intellectual disability. BL is this child's initials. His full name is unknown. Died at 13 months, had brain damage and was shaken. Developmental delay. Heaven Jenkins, he died at 2 years old by drowning. He had autism. Gracie Sharp, 20 months, shot with spear gun, disability, congenital hip dysplasia. Mia DePalat, 21 months, head injury, developmental delay. Sophie Jaworski, 83, stabbed, Alzheimer's disease and colon cancer. Sophie enjoyed bowling, baking, shopping, and spending time with her family, who called her Baba. Mary Sawyer, 79, asphyxia, dementia. Rita Ann Sawyer, her daughter, was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life. Scarlett Chen, 4 years, drowning, autism. Ian Carmichael, 11, poisoned and strangled, epilepsy, dyslexia, and developmental delay. Incomplete in BMX bike racing, he left behind his older sister Gillian. Karen Drieger, 35 years old, malnutrition, cerebral palsy. Dietrich Brown, 2 years old, head trauma. Parents claim drug baby, intellectual disability, autism, and seizures, possibly due to abuse. Eric Bland, 38 years old, starvation, autism. James Orr, 32, fire, wheelchair user from childhood injury. Stephanie Ramos, 8, undetermined death, had intellectual disability, blindness, cerebral palsy, and diabetes. Rhea Denagi, 6 months, died from blood loss and had Down syndrome. Maggie Caraballo, 38, head injury, had autism. Her sister was arrested. EA are the initials. Had pneumonia, died from pneumonia and pyelonephritis. Physical and intellectual disability, likely osteoporosis, pseudoglioma syndrome. Daniel Thomas, 2 years old, unknown suspicious death, had asthma, speech delay, allergies, and eczema. Angelica Oriema, 20, drowned, autism. Alex Pavlis, 6 years old, died from beating, had fetal alcohol syndrome. Omar Pavlis, his adopted mother, was sentenced to 12 years, paroled after 5 years. Irene Ritchie, 87, died from suffocation, had heart disease, blindness, and was a frail elder. At trial, the judge commented that he did not believe the murder had been a mercy killing and that Irene's son simply did not like living with an elderly woman in constant pain. Olga Law. 7-3. Died from asphyxia. Had Alzheimer's. 9 months. Died from infection. Had chronic eczema. Yes. Amber Hague. I'm reading. No. Okay, so Amber went missing June 5th, 2002. What? I'm filming right now. She went missing June. What? Just watch Hallmark and stop interrupting me, please. I'm trying to talk. She went missing June 5th, 2002. She went missing at 19. And she's presumed dead. She had intellectual disability. Amber's parents remember her as a kind, loving soul who would help anyone who needed her, and as a dedicated mother who would never have voluntarily left her son behind.
Hi, Jack Lady. Wanted to see me? This will only take a moment. I'm going to sit.
Cassandra Kilpack. 4. Died from water intoxication. Had reactive attachment disorder. Dale Bartholomew. 27. Died from gunshot and had autism. Reese 9. Died from blood clot on the brain due to blows to the head. Had developmental disability, asthma, and epilepsy. Reese was a football fan, and his favorite shirt was his Browns football jersey. Amanda Bates. Died at 13. Had diabetic ketoacidosis and gangrene. She had juvenile diabetes. Chelsea Craig. Died at 14. Died from prescription drug overdose and had Rett syndrome. Chelsea had a pet bulldog named Penny. She was a freshman in high school. Sean Hurt. 14. Bludgeoned autism. Kenneth Hairston, stepfather, sentenced to death. Megan McCullough. Thank you. 2. Head injury, developmental disability. Pamela King.
Well, people seem to like the show. Maybe it's not so bad.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure. She was a hit, but
67. Head injury. arthritis, and mobility impaired. I'm eating ice cream while doing this to help with me speak.
So this is a problem we have here. Looking for a simple solution. Maybe just
So that you don't hear me clear my throat. When she died, Pamela had a suitcase packed and hidden in her closet, implying she was planning to escape her abusive husband.
You're supposed to be running.
I told you this wasn't a ride share.
So what were you doing lurking outside of my office building?
I was parking, not looking. I came straight from the train station so you and I could get right to work.
Reese Boney, 34, died from carbon monoxide poisoning and had intellectual disability.
Wait. You brought me to my childhood home? What are we doing here? What is this?
So this is my big
2006.
I'll explain inside.
Evelyn Joel,
Can I come in?
59,
House with boarded up windows.
pneumonia, multiple sclerosis.
Besides, I'm pretty sure whoever owns this place would take issue with us just letting ourselves in.
Pretty sure they won't.
Why is that?
Because as of this morning, the network owns it. This is the house we're moving over for the special.
This is the
Ryan Davies,
no.
12 years old, drowned while drowning Fragile X.
Place has been big.
Ryan knew how to do wheelies on his bike. Catherine McCarron,
Such as a great hug.
3 years old, asphyxia and autism.
What if, instead of giving a holiday makeover to some stranger's house, you revisit your own childhood home? The same one where you celebrated Christmas as a kid and you restore it to its former glory.
No.
No? You don't like it?
I do. As a full season show, this is a one-time special.
Christopher de Groot,
3 months to turn
19, died from fire,
We'd never get this place ready in time.
had autism.
Look, it'll be fine. We'll pre-record most of the special and then we'll go live for the big final reveal. That gives us right up until Christmas Eve to get this place in shape. Oh, come on. Isn't your whole thing any place can become a perfect
Casey Axum,
This place's perfect holiday is Halloween. It's a mess.
It's not a mess. It's a success in progress.
25, died from malnutrition, had epilepsy, cerebral palsy, and possible multiple sclerosis.
Maybe run through me from now on.
Okay, which kinds of things?
You know, number of shoot days, cruise sides, cruise lists, construction costs, we use for catering.
So,
Mickey Kanesaki,
directing the whole thing.
I am. Jacqueline didn't tell you?
No, not in those words. But that still doesn't
52, asphyxia or drowning, depression, and severe arthritis.
What we need is a list of what needs fixing first, right?
Dalen Foreman,
1.
12 years old,
In.
starvation,
Wall.
had cerebral palsy.
Got you started.
This really isn't what I had in mind. I need to go on record and strongly urge you to reconsider.
You're not going to stop making this all about you. It's not, and if you can't handle it, the door here.
Marcus Faisal, 3 years old,
Back here tomorrow morning at 11.
dehydration, heat stroke, and or positional asphyxia, autism and developmental delay. Lakeisha Victor,
It's not as bad as
10.
Floor slanted. I tried using a level to figure out how much. Only 9 levels away.
Starvation, cerebral palsy, autism, and epilepsy.
Maybe you can transform this place, make it cozy. There it is. That smile. Now.
Stephen Chin,
It was an early Christmas gift I made you.
63. Via SCI and quadriplegic.
Cozy. It's kind of like
Sherry the Berry,
used to put up the tree every year in here and say, it feels like there's a little bit of Christmas magic in this house.
50 years old.
Hold on right here.
Suffocation, depression, and alcoholism.
I think there's something in there. What is that? I'm not sure.
Ulysses
Can you help me with this?
Stable,
Looks like an old letter.
you're welcome. 12 blood loss, autism.
It's addressed to me. Okay.
Jose Stable, father. Convicted and sentenced to 3.5 years.
This is the letter I wrote to Santa when I was little girl. And this is a piece of paper, only it's completely.
Rebecca Wiley, 4 years old, drug overdose, ADHD, and bipolar disorder.
Discovered by Christmas, I swear it's no trick that the name of your soulmate, your true love, is Nick. Santa Claus. As in the Santa Claus? And he's telling you you're about to make a love.
Okay, 2007.
Of course not, because that would be, I mean, that's not possible, right? I mean, no, I remember Nick Christmas. You wanted more than anything to know the name of your true love. Yes, but that was forever.
Colleaga Potts, 3 years old, head injury, developmental delay, and possible fetal alcohol syndrome.
Tree every year, and where Santa would always leave the presents. So now that I found this, you know just what to do with it. You're throwing it away? There's no
Summer Phelps,
There has to be some
4 years old,
explanation for what we saw tonight.
drowned,
Right?
developmentally disabled.
Fine, it wasn't as very good, but I have an easier time believing that than Santa Claus being my own personal matchmaker. Wait, I am as rational as the next person. But
Brendan Williams,
that little bit of Christmas magic.
5 years old,
You were meant to find that here when the time was right.
blunt trauma,
It even says so.
had autism.
I
Brendan loved watching the Disney Channel, especially Lilo and Stitch.
I have way too much on my plate right now to get distracted. Starting with an all-nighter to redo months of work. And, look, I'm open to the idea of finding the right guy.
Baden Bond, sorry.
If there's anything about that letter that's actually real. Just
Presumably died at 2 years old because of abandonment. Cerebral palsy. Braylon Mascow, 2 years old, blunt trauma, shaken baby syndrome, Speech and motor skills delays. Kate bug me. Or bug my. 26. Die from sepsis and malnutrition. Cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and intellectual disability. Chris Weimer, 47, fall injury, hydrocephalus, and neurofibromatosis. Jared Greenwood, 26, sepsis, autism and intellectual disability. Sandra Greenwood, mother, convicted of neglect, sentenced to 2.5 years in jail. Francesca Hardwick, 18, fire, intellectual disability. Francesca's school teachers remember how she loved to jump in puddles, play on swings, and give massages. Naomi Hill, 4, drowned, cerebral palsy. Joanne Hill, mother, convicted of murder, sentenced to 15 years to life. Maya Comas, 2 years old, drowning, wet syndrome. Maxwell Iyer, 2 years old, head injury, death. (2008). Ariana Beltran, 3 years old, blunt trauma, autism. The case is unsolved. Ariana's mother, Erin Skinner, and her mother's boyfriend, Mac Lucas, were both arrested because they were the ones in whose custody Ariana had been in, but charges were dropped because of a lack of evidence. Courtney Wise, 17 years old, malnutrition, cerebral palsy. Cheyenne Wolf, 12 years old, homicide, spina bifida. Nikolai Emelyantsev, 14 months, skull fracture, Down syndrome. Sonia Todd, 21, traumatic injury and diabetic crisis, diabetes and asthma. She was an academically talented young woman who liked doing volunteer work. She left behind a 6-year-old daughter. Jalen Brown, 13, sepsis, cerebral palsy. Jamie Hawley, 41, starvation, pneumonia infection, cerebral palsy, and intellectual disability. While his brother collected his disability checks, Jamie died of starvation, pneumonia, and infected bed sores. Peggy Merman, 79, overdose, a debilitating neuromuscular disease. Margaret Benjo, 76, gunshot, chronic illness, dementia, disabled elder. Kevin Johnson, 12, fatal abuse, intellectual disability. His favorite hymn was the gospel song, I Need You to Survive. Mason Scott, 6 years old, born autism. Christy Scott, mother, first-degree murder, death sentence. Jacob Grabe, 13, gunshot. It says Asperger's syndrome, but basically it's just autism. This was before Asperger's syndrome was removed from the DSM. So yeah, Jacob ran track and field and played the French horn in his school band. Aline Martin, 76, head injury, vascular dementia. Carl Dutter, 12, gunshot, autism. His favorite holiday was Halloween. He loved dressing up and going trick-or-treating and was always talking about Halloween to anyone who would listen. Tom Inglis, 22, heroin overdose, TBI. That's it for part 2.